So y'all know I love Magi. That's one of my favorite manga that I'm reviewing right now. But I gotta be honest with you guys as a reviewer and give you my honest thoughts on this latest chapter. Now the first half of the chapter was good stuff, building up, the war is about to begin, seemingly the final war, which I highly doubt that for the Kouen Empire because Sinbad ain't gonna rest easy. So those words, taking them a little iffy in regards to that because it's like, come on, Sinbad, let's be real here. So we have that good setup. We also have that Hakuryuu still cares for Hakuryuu, even though necessarily she didn't help him, but she doesn't want to go to war against her brother neither because she still loves him. So there we have a little bit of her character and where she's at right now, what she's thinking. The parts of the chapter was the second half where I honestly felt like it just takes away from the absolutely amazingness to an extent of the fight that we recently had with Hakuryuu and Judar versus Aladdin and Alibaba. Now, I was never naive enough to think, and I've said this already in a few of my reviews, that Alibaba would be gone for good. I said at some point he will come back, it's just a matter of when and how it's going to happen. But after you have this dramatic and really tragic and sad, level of craziness that we had, and you go to a comedic aspect, and I get to a certain extent what Shinobu was trying to do, like lighten the mood a little bit because everything is just so down right now. I mean, we have war approaching, we have all these things going on. Let's throw a little bit of comedy in there, but it just to a certain degree takes some of the impact away because if you look at it right now, finding out that Judar and Alibaba are both together and they're both all right seemingly. Alibaba is a spirit right now and Judar can't really use his magic wherever the hell they're at. It just really feels as though it takes some of the impact because what really happened from that fight when you think about it now, eventually Alibaba will get back to his body or he'll return and get a new body, whatever the case may be, how they're gonna handle that. But the only thing that happened was Hakuryuu has tree trunks for legs now when you really think of the impact of that fight because they're going to eventually return. I don't know if Judal is going to return now. Later, maybe they'll have this big quest together, and then eventually Alibaba will get back, and Judal will stay behind for a bit, and maybe we could get some good character development out of this as well. So I'm looking positive towards the future of that, but just the fact that it's only like about 4 chapters from the fight, or 3 or 4 chapters or whatever, and we come back and both of them all right, and it's in a comedic aspect. It honestly was just a bit of a letdown. It really was because I expected Alibaba to come back, but I was hoping that if either of them came back, it would be a distance from now. It would be maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 chapters, and then Judal comes back with a smile, and then he explains how he was able to return or whatever, or Alibaba came back in this mystified way, some crazy shit like that, but it's just, they're both fine. They're both, like, having a little adventure right now, and it just, the climax of what just recently happened feels a little bit like it was not necessarily ruined, but it just isn't as impactful as it was. I mean, even in the beginning of the chapter with Morgiana, the blood in her eyes, her traveling all the way to Yunnan to try and get information only for it to not be anything, and it's like everybody is struggling when in reality Alibaba is not really all that bad off right now. I mean, yeah, there's the time consumption of like, okay, he needs to get back to his body immediately or whatever, but eventually he's gonna return, and Judal is fine as well. We got the comedy of Ugo transferring his soul back and forth and him kind of remembering Ugo to a certain extent or whatever, but it's like, what really happened in the fight when both of them are gonna return? Hakuryuu lost his legs and he has tree trunks for legs, and that really just, I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way. It honestly felt a little bit like, why are you doing this, Shinobu? Because I rarely, if ever, am disappointed with Shinobu. It's like, yeah, maybe a gag chapter here or there, and I think that's one of the things that, to a certain extent, kind of is her downfall out of anything, because she's a great writer, and Magi is a great series, but like, for example, where the whole thing of, oh, we thought Alibaba finally found someone, and then we find out he was lying, and it was Garda this entire time. While that's funny as shit, at the end of the day, it kind of takes away from some of the serious aspects, and likewise with what happened at the end of this chapter. And with all that being said, I'm going to be brief with this one. First half of the chapter was good setup, but the Morgiana parts and all the chapters that we had prior to this with Aladdin crying and 5 days of him trying his best to get his friend back and everything, it just feels like, what everything Aladdin tried and everything is like, he's going to be alright, and they're just, I don't know, the comedy just didn't feel right for me. It just felt like, I'm still going to give it time. I'm not going to say this is terrible. Maybe something will happen. Maybe one of them will die on that planet or whatever, or maybe Judal really won't be able to return for good this time or something along the lines of that. But honestly, just disappointed towards the end. I I just felt that way. So I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 10. It wasn't completely like a 1, 2, or 3, but it just felt like the impact of that amazing fight was sort of, you know, just decreased a bit. Let me know what you guys think. First of all, how do you feel about Judar and Alibaba already returning to the manga only a few chapters after the incredible fight we had and it being in a comedic light? Do you feel as though it took away from the incredible battle we just had? Or do you feel as though, well, they were going to return anyway? Like, I knew Alibaba was returning anyway, but it just shouldn't have been this way. It should have been a distance off, and it should have been in a more impactful and epic way instead of just like he's with a sword as a spirit saving Judal. Like, there's good character development, there's good room for that there between the two of them, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And your overall thoughts of the chapter? How do you feel about Hakuryuu backing off from the battle and kind of Koumen's words as well? Like, you know, this is some serious shit. There's no time for bullshit, and we're all emotional right now. And your overall thoughts of the chapter? First half was pretty damn good. Second half just felt disappointing. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.